Oh, you should check out Montreal. It's so European. You will like it. That was the phrase that I had consistently been told by Canadians. Is Montreal European?
It didn't even come close. In contrary, this city has given me the emotions no other North American or European city could. Bienvenue à Montréal!
Without any hesitation, I'm going to name Montreal the most unique city I have ever visited in my life. It has a unique blend of architectural styles which I could not omit in any way. Not only that, Montreal has some identity, which makes it feel like in a new country.
Hell, you can even cross the border with the US and feel nothing except the fear of being assassinated in 2 times meaner people.
However, what did make me feel like in the US was the downtown. I haven't been to New York yet, but I have been in the downtown Toronto multiple times, which is often regarded as a copy of New York. Montreal downtown heavily reminded me of Toronto, with only height of the skyscrapers being reduced 2 times. Besides that, it also was much less noisy and crowded. The amount of traffic was less than in Toronto, and it made me feel much more comfortable. Montreal, you've got a point on that one. Toronto could learn something. However, it still has pretty much wide roads and gigantic buildings. What I liked about it were the little and convenient parks surrounded by the skyscrapers. It's cute. He's not afraid of me. See? He's not fine. In country, what I didn't like was the amount of homeless and drug addicts on the street. Downtown was like a magnet to them. Montreal was often described to me as the safest large city in Canada. Nevertheless, homelessness is a common North American and Western European issue which did not omit Montreal. I was disappointed to see the amount of such people on the streets, particularly after all these claims about the safeness of the city. You can only imagine how bad the situation is in other North American cities if this is what you have in Montreal. For the whole of my life living in a grand Ukrainian city and small Canadian towns, I've seen homeless like a couple of times, but here I've noticed hundreds of them. Generally, they are harmless, but during the night I would definitely avoid some areas.
Oh, here it comes, the European part of Montreal, so desired by the American tourists from New York City, whose only understanding of Europe is that it has a capital named France in the country of London.
In the Old Ville, in the heart of the biggest French-speaking city in Canada, you would probably expect people speaking French. Well, guess what? You are wrong. It's American. This is the exact spawn point for all the American NPCs in Montreal. Due to that fact, a lot of the Frenchness is being brutally slaughtered by the amount of souvenir shops. So it's merge, merge, and merge. Despite my genuine love for exploring the non-touristy areas, I had to check out the Old Town and Old Port, or as they say in Quebec, La Vieille Ville and Le Vieux Port. This is the area where the French settlers came in 1642 and founded the city. Because of that, the French influence here is the most preserved out of any other district in Montreal. I deeply enjoy seeing these paved stones while walking there. Such a refresh after 2 years of a typical North American sidewalk. Here's my advice. If you want to enjoy the Old Ville, simply turn off from the main 2 streets. You'll get some great narrow street views without a single soul near you. Just don't do what all these Americans are doing. You'll preserve your money and avoid getting questionable service. And now, I'm proudly introducing you to the Basilique Notre-Dame de Montréal. What's so interesting and attractive here to all of the tourists in Montreal? It's a church made in Gothic style. It's not even made by French. Seriously, that's it. It even was under construction when I visited it, so it was boring as hell. I can now take a random spot in France on Google Maps, and it's gonna be the same view. However, here, on Place des Armes, or the fancy French mumble for the square, is located a monument to the founder of the city, Maisonneuve. I liked it. It was cool. Besides one homeless dude hiding behind it. What about the Old Port? I've took a nice bike ride back home. Speaking of bikes and other infrastructure in Montreal, the city actually differs from any other Canadian city. It has plenty of bike lanes, a functioning subway, and buses. I was actually surprised that closer to the downtown, bikes are actively being used as an alternative form of transportation. While returning back to my Airbnb, I genuinely felt like I was in the traffic. It's something that even some European cities lack. So great job, Montreal. It's definitely a whole other experience from Toronto, where only the most passionate people risk to get on these lanes, risking to be smashed by a local driver or the bike lane merging into the highway. This problem is less present in Montreal, as some lanes are protected by the safe zone. There's also the local bike sharing service called Bixi, which allows you to take the bike from a station, travel, and return it to another closest to you station. It was pretty convenient from time to time, although the quality of the service and the available bike lanes leaves much to be desired. I've tried to unlock at least half of these bikes, but they just charged me for the one-way pass, but they did not think that it's suitable for me just to unlock the bike. So they decided not to. And I've tried like half of these bikes, and every time something goes wrong. Either one bike is not available, either it's just loading forever. No wonder they have 1.5 stars rating on Google Play. The subway was something I missed from Ukraine, and what I liked about it in Montreal is the fact that you don't have to descend that much deep to reach the station. In addition, the number of stations is bigger than in my city, so the travel time is much faster between the locations. It's pretty safe during the daytime, however I can't judge for the nighttime, since I didn't use it during the night. The trains also have a unique rubber wheels technology borrowed from their French counterparts, which sounds cool. As to the buses, the bus stops are pretty widespread and you can travel to almost any part of the city. The problem with the buses is that they are often late and stay in traffic jams.
As locals say, there are two seasons in Montreal: the winter and constructions. Oh boy, they were right.
I can't speak for winter as I haven't been here during it, but the summer season is the time for the city's spread constructions. Throughout my visit, I couldn't last a day without stumbling into some sort of construction work going on. This makes the traffic issue even worse, as the cars often have to find detours to their original path. Perhaps it's something that Quebecois share with the Ukrainians. The worse you repair the roads, the more you have to repair them again. The more you repair roads, the more grants you get from the government. If you ask any Canadian outside Quebec, you will practically never hear them saying anything positive about Quebec and the Quebecois. This is reciprocated by the Quebecois. The province is known to be acting as an outcast in the Canadian political and cultural lives. Considering that this is the first by territory and second by inhabitants largest province in Canada, it has a lot of economical and political power.
Quebec's new language law, Bill 96, is now in effect.
Quebec's provincial government is constantly striving to strengthen the French language laws and boost it in the region. For example, the provincial law dictates that if your company, your organization, or you have at least 5 employees, you must be able to serve customers in French. Another one is the rule for names and logos. Example of it is KFC rebranding themselves as PFK or Starbucks adding the word cafe to its name. Does it help promoting French instead of creating tensions? That would be a question to the Quebecois. The language topic is merely followed by the Quebec nationalists. Modern Canadian society often neglects it and prefer not to talk much about it. However, did you know that Quebec had almost separated from Canada? It happened not that far ago, in 1995. During the 60s, the militant group called the Front de Libération du Québec, or the FLQ, was fighting against the federal government, using terrorism in an attempt to achieve an independent Quebec. After the defeat of the movement in the late 70s, the separatist moods in Quebec had only been rising, resulting in a demand for a referendum held in 1995. There, 49.42% of the Quebec population voted to separate from Canada. If not the 1% difference, maybe the maps of the world would have one more country on them. Nevertheless, after the referendum, the separatism in Quebec fell into a sleep mode and the question was never seriously brought up again. The French and English influence touched the city with the styles like Victorian, Gothic, and plenty of others. It even gave birth to a new one, uniquely in Montreal style, called Montreal Triplex. This was something that I first noticed about Montreal when I first opened it on Google Maps to look around. And to be honest, I definitely like it more than a common American suburbia. These 3 or 2-floor buildings have such nice terraces which I could not but not enjoy them. A lot of these can be found in a neighborhood called Little Italy. It's a very tranquil corner of the city with lots of greenery and cafes. What's special about them is that they don't look like your typical fast food place in a typical Canadian or American city. They remind more of a European-style cafe where you can order a surprise, actual coffee with a croissant. Besides, most of the best cafes and restaurants in Montreal I found to be located here. There is no surprise to that. As it follows from the name, the Little Italy was made into what it is by now by the Italian immigrants. The first wave of immigration began in 1880s when Italian families started looking for the better future in the province. In the early 1900s, the restaurants and cafes were on the rise, where the immigrants implemented their culinary traditions and cuisine. In 1930s, in spite of the Great Depression, the project of Jean Talon Market was introduced. Soon enough, it will become the largest open-air market in North America. What I love checking out and what makes a city unique is its graffitis. The street art is an art as well and tells a lot about the local culture, values, and beliefs. Even the absence of it tells something. Montreal has tons of great street art. Some of it has secret meaning, some of it is just pretty, and some of it is just an act of vandalism. Most of the street art I found in a neighborhood called Miles End. This is creative and hipster place with a lot of artsy atmosphere. The cafes, bars, and nightlife, it's all gathered here. No surprise, most of the street art can be found here. I have witnessed a lot of fancy and not street art here, despite spending here only one evening.
Here's a fact. Montreal is an island. It is covered from all sides by the river St. Lawrence, making it a huge island. Besides, it has a lot more smaller ones, and some of them has actually something to see. So I seized an opportunity and went to some of them. My first one was called Île de la Visitation, which is translated to English as the Visitor's Island.
Someone might ask me, what is there to see on this island? To which I will respond, well, there's a big cross there and a view on the other shore full of Canadian common blocks. What's worth it? Hell yeah! The whole island is basically a huge park where you can walk or cycle. It doesn't have anything special, but this is exactly why I came here. It's not a special touristy place. It's a basic park where common Montrealers are going to rest. This is something what most of the travelers and travel channels forget to do. Visit the places where commoners are. This is how you get exposed to the culture. The other day I spent on another island, the more known one, the St. Helens Island. This park is close to the downtown, has a museum in the form of a sphere and an adventure park. I didn't have time nor the money for the museum, so I took a nice picture of it and left. The adventure park was closed because of the common Montreal problem, like, construction. So I had to try several rounds around it to walk around the park. What I found convenient was the subway station right on the island. Montreal decided to create a special yellow line with 3 stops overall for this island. This is the line which looked like it hadn't been maintained since the fall of the Soviet Union. I came here early in the morning, about 9 a.m., so I found here no people. It felt like it was my private island and I'm a senile lord walking around my gardens. This feeling was definitely worth it, except for that one homeless guy, but it doesn't matter. The best part of the island was its panoramic view on the Montreal skyline, which was truly marvelous. This is where my 4-day journey has ended. I will be honest, I'm in huge debt to Montreal. I want to send my greatest gratitude to this city, which proved to me that there's an alternative in North America to North America. Somebody can argue how other cities are also a great choice for living. The huge taxes in the province, the nasty French language and people, and many other reasons why this city might not be great. It's not great. It has its flaws with the language laws, weather, and endless construction. But personally, I found its example inspiring, and I stand by that opinion religiously. May this city be inspiring for you as well.